Hi everyone, this is Brad. Today we're going to talk about a feature that I really like inside of MetaField, and that is to have the system auto-generate your file names. So you have some flexibility and some options to configure that. So essentially what that means is when you send a report or when you download a report locally, the system can create the name of your file in really whatever way that you want. This is a big advantage when you are providing a report to a client and they require a certain naming convention for that report. So you don't have to download it locally and rename it on your desktop or anything like that. So as a quick example, what I'm going to show you here is that here's an example of a density report. Well, if we look up at the top, I'm just previewing this report in my browser. This is the name of the file. So this is kind of the date that the test was done, the technician. That is the name of the project. So what I'm going to show you here is we're going to go ahead and locate this same report inside of the system and download it. So let's open up delivery where this report is for this project, and this is it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and download this, and as you see in my browser, there's kind of that name of the file, right? So if I were to put this on my desktop, I don't have to rename this. So that is what's customizable. So let's go ahead and talk about how we can adjust this. Before I do this, I just want to call out that I am demoing right now on version 2023.4. So if you're watching this and it doesn't match exactly what you're looking for, just chances are you might be on a different version. But what I want to mention too is that you also have the capability to adjust your file names at a project level as well. So if you have one unique client that requires a certain naming convention for the reports that they receive, because it's going to go into their portal, when you drag and drop it there, it's going to be organized in their preferred method. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up administration, and we need to locate the report type in question that we want to configure. So I'm going to go underneath reports and report types, and I'm just going to locate our kind of out-of-box density report, which is going to be right here, and we're going to click edit. Okay. So these are some of the settings that you can adjust, and what we want to locate are these two right here, file name and description. And you'll probably notice that there are some dynamic placeholders in blue here. So if we hover our cursor over this, you can see that it's going to give you a little cheat sheet on how to configure these. Same thing down here underneath description. Now description has a lot. So you can see that whatever you add in this field is going to be netted by this particular placeholder called report description. So report description here, it's going to put project name and density test together in that order before it inserts the report title. Okay, so I'm going to play around with this a little bit. So what I want to add is maybe like the technician who did it and maybe the project number at the beginning of this file naming string. So I'm going to come here and I'm going to hover my cursor over this little information icon, and I can see right about 2/3 of the way down, 3/4, it says project number in double brackets. I'm going to place that right here. Okay, so I'm going to do double brackets just like it told me to. And if I don't do it correctly and I get off of that, I tab off of it, you can see it's static text. So I haven't done it correctly yet. It needs to be in blue. You can see I'm missing a bracket right there. So I want to make sure that I have another bracket, and there you can see now it's in blue. I'm also going to add the technician there towards the bottom. So let's do that one. So let's put in technician. Just like so, tab off, there we go. So now again, what's going to happen is that if I come back to the file name now, you can see there's a few more, including office name, report number, that type of thing. But the big one is report description, right? So it's going to net all of these 4 individual ones together, put them in that order, and that's going to be the beginning of the file name when we generate a report, followed by the report title. So even if I wanted to kind of flip these around a little bit, let's get rid of that. Just a little copy paste, put it in front, and there we go. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. Now, what I'm going to do quick is I'm going to leave this open. Okay, and I'm going to open up another tab because we're going to reference this page again in just a moment. So I'm going to duplicate my tab, and I'm going to go to an area of the system where we can now generate a new report of this report type. So let's go into quality control, jump into maybe a just a density testing report. So here we go, and I'm going to click finalize report here. And this is going to be the key because this is the little menu here that's allowing me to create a new deliverable from the data. So now what we see is you have the project number followed by the project name. There's the date. Oops, let's go back, and then followed by the technician, right? Let's just go over there. Just key it over. So there's the technician now. But you can also see I can edit this a little bit. So if I wanted, I could add some kind of language on the fly, like I just put an A there at the end, right? For whatever reason, maybe you want to disclose the road that it's on, something like that. You have the opportunity to add something into the description. But if we reference this piece again, the reason that it's getting appended there is because we have report description, right? So what's going to happen is this is going to be part of the file name when we actually create the report. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll skip the signature for now, and we'll just click finalize. Okay, so we created the report. Now let's go look at it. So where did that report go again? It's always going to be in delivery. That's your internal copy. Let's jump to delivery. And here is the report that we just created. Note that here's the description column. So there's even that A that I added on the fly, but this is what's going to be part of the file name. So let's download this right now. So when we download it, here we go, there it is. Let's open this up, and you can see there is the name of the type of report, followed by the project number, the project name, and the rest of the sequence. You can see it's kind of hidden there because it's a long file name. But again, if we reference our the way we had it set up, we have report title at the beginning, followed by the description. So you can rearrange this however you want for this particular report. That way I don't have to download it and rename that file. Now you can also adjust the description here as well. So note that if you maybe missed something when you created the report, there is an edit description button. So if that's a typo, I can get rid of that. Okay, so that's going to be changed. But a lot of power there with the description and being able to name your file. Now what we've done up until this point is this naming convention for when we download files, this is at a global level. Okay, so you can see there, if I hover my cursor over, there's the name of the file, right? You can see it right there. This is at a global level, so every report that we produce, that's a density report, it's going to have this convention. Well, again, what if there's a client that requires something a little more unique? So what we're going to do is I'm going to open up this particular project now. Okay, so we're going to go back to the very beginning, and let's open up Project Admin, and we're going to go into specifications. So what we do here now, this is going to be changes that we adjust just for this one particular project. So let's click View Specifications. So you can see I've drilled down into this one job. And what we're going to look at here is this tab down towards the bottom called Report/Labels. So what you're going to see here, this is going to be every report in the system, but you're going to have some of these same opportunities now to adjust your file names for this project. So let's just look it up. Let's just type in soil, see if I can find it. Oops, if I could type it. Let's do, I think I named it compaction. Maybe it's nuclear gauge. We're in the sandbox here. There we go. All right, so here's that report. Let's click edit. And now we can see it's those same fields that we saw at a global level. Okay, so we can do something different. Let's say this particular client, for whatever reason, they want the the date at the beginning of their files that we send to them, the date that the actual test occurred. So I can see there's density test date there, a little bit towards the top, about a third of the way down. So I'm going to go ahead and type that in. We'll go density test date, double brackets. Let's do the technician next. There we go. And then finally, let's do, I suppose we can do project number again, right? So keep in mind, you probably saw there's some other ones there for sets, you know, if you want to do concrete, things like that. That's super helpful. So let's type in, that looks good, okay. So that part's done, right? I tabbed off and it's all in blue, it all looks good. But now the next step is we got to include the description in the file name. So there's that second one from the top. So now we're going to go report description, okay. So that's going to be it. Let's go ahead and hit save. Of course, I can add more into that if I want to, but we'll call that good. Let's hit save. So we've done that on this Cell Street Improvements project, okay? So let's take a step back. Let's go into the same project that we were earlier. And we're going to generate that same report from the same test that we were working on earlier. Let's go ahead and click Finalize. And now you can see that this time it has the date at the beginning of the description. So let's go ahead and hit Finalize. Project numbers at the back. There's the technician. Let's go ahead and click Delivery because we want to look at the report. Maybe we want to download it. Now you can see here, there is the name of our file. Okay. So you can do this for every single report in the system. And again, if you want to do it for a report that you created, you can certainly do that as well. That's going to be done in the report designer area. So in another video, I created I think it was a rebar report. So if I go into reports, report types, the report that I created was underneath activity. So let me just locate it here. So here's the rebar report. The only difference here is that we're going to click this guy instead of the pencil. We're going to edit in report designer. And because this is a report that you can configure within the system, right? It's not one of the ones that was provided out of box. It's just going to be over here on the report settings tab inside of report designer. So if we scroll down, it's the same concept. There it is, file name and description. So the same tools that you have, it's just in a little bit of a different area. So if you're working with Report Designer at all, just locate the Report Settings button, scroll down just a little bit, and you'll be able to find your file name and your description. Okay? So if you have any questions of that, please reach out, but I hope this is helpful. Hopefully it can help solve or save some time when you're naming files for particular clients or even storing them locally or other reasons that you may need. So thanks for listening.